Hello and welcome to the Helix Gene Wellness Podcast. Today we have two very special guests for you. Eliana Ladenheim, the founder of Eishes Style on Instagram at Eishes Style, which I'll spell out for you in the show notes, and her coach, her Wellness40 coach at Helix Gene, Dahlia. This interview was really fascinating. We went into depth about how both Eliana and Dahlia transformed their lives on the Helix and Gene Wellness 101 and Wellness 40 programs. We heard the story of Eliana's career, the arc of how she started her business from simply just posting her outfits on Instagram to eventually accumulating close to 90,000 followers and a full-time business. So this was a really interesting conversation. We go deep into the science of weight loss and some of the things that you experience on a Helix and Gene program and what it's like to be coached on such a program. Listen through to the end and we will give you a special coupon code for listeners of this episode. So stay tuned for that. We'll reveal that at the end. So enjoy, sit back, and here is Sam, Eliana Ladenheim, founder of Eishes Style, Coach Dahlia, and myself on the Helix and Gene Wellness Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Helix and Gene Medical Wellness Podcast. Today, we have a really cool guest. She has recently become a Helix and Gene client and has done one of our programs. And this is not a medical guest or a physician, but this is somebody who really has dedicated her life to health and wellness and fitness. And we're just very happy to kind of help her take that next step here at Helix and Gene. We also have our coach, Dalia, our fabulous, lovely coach who coached Eliana throughout the process, and always our buddy, Matt Freed, here with us as well. So I wanted to welcome you guys. Eliana, welcome to the show. Dalia, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I'm very excited to have this conversation and go through a lot of what we've talked about and your experiences with your health and wellness on this podcast. So before we start, Eliana, I want people to really get to know who you are, our listeners. Can you give us a little background about how Eishes Styles was formed and how you became to be who you are today?
Yeah, so I started Eishes Style about 8 years ago off of Instagram. I always loved fashion, and I was also always into fitness, and I started it as a way for me to express my style, and then it started to evolve into a lifestyle, and now I showcase all different types of stuff, but it's mainly fashion.
Tell me a little bit, what does a day in the life look like for you, present? How did you, even in the beginning, decide that this was something you wanted to do? How did this whole thing come about? Did you just start posting on Instagram one day, certain things? Where did all of this come about? The inception of how you've built what you've built today?
Okay, so I went to Yeshiva University, Stern College. I majored in public relations. I had a lot of internships in New York City. After a few of my internships, I just realized I did not want to work in that world. And I always wanted to have my own business. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually tried party planning. And so when I was married after a year, we were living in Philadelphia. My husband was in school, and I really just wanted to express my fashion. And I just started posting my outfits. And it's funny because my Instagram name is a play on a Jewish term, Isha Chayil, which means woman of valor. So I sat down one day and I was like, well, what name should I do that's funny and catchy? And I was like, oh, I'll do Isha Style because it means woman of style. So I just started posting my outfits, and then it kind of just took off because people started seeing my name and they thought it was cute. And then they just started seeing, I guess, my style, and they liked it. And over the years, I just gained more and more followers. And at the beginning, I wasn't getting any monetary value from it. But I knew that there was a way for me to turn it into that. And my husband would even say to me, why are you putting yourself out there? Why are you doing this? And I would say, I'm telling you, something will turn it, something will happen. And then one day I just figured out how to get revenue from it. And it just kind of picked up. And that's basically how it evolved. It took a while, and I'm still evolving, every day. I still
Yeah,
want to do more,
absolutely. Yeah.
but it definitely is like, it's very cool that I was able to turn this platform into an actual business.
That's fabulous. And what I want to really ask you is, you are a influencer inside of a very tight knit community, right? In a
Mhm.
way, and for our listeners that don't know anything about this world, can you explain a little bit about the Orthodox, modern Orthodox, how the influencer persona works within this atmosphere a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's really just that it's a very tight community. And I started posting modest fashion, and modesty has also evolved over time. It used to be really hard to find modest clothing. Now it's much easier, but it's still it's still challenging for Jewish girls who want to be. Not all Jewish girls dress modestly, but the ones that want to, it's challenging to find fashionable outfits. So I think nowadays there's a bunch of different Jewish modest influencers who, and not just Jewish, there's a lot of other modest influencers out there, and I think that that whole modest community is very strong. And then also, just within the Jewish community, I have non-modest followers also, obviously, and um, people just, I think that when you relate to someone,
Yeah.
people just really like to follow them. So I know, like, there's the Mormon community, and the Muslim community, where people also have very strong followers. So yeah.
Fabulous. That's very cool. And it's very cool to see because, this is it's what we're learning with our company, and we now have a pretty large modest Jewish clientele, and we're really learning the culture and understanding and helping them shift within the community how to eat, even when it comes to get-togethers like Shabbat dinner, and how to create better choices, how to
Yeah.
be able to put together a healthier platform that really takes into factor their lifestyle, but also now teaches them a whole new lens of understanding how to do it in a more healthy fashion. So segueing into that a little bit, I really want to talk about your experience on our program. And our lovely coach Dahlia is here, and Dahlia coached you through this process. And Eliana, I want you to just give me a little explanation of what the process of doing Wellness 40 was for you.
Okay, so it was challenging. It was something that I really wanted to do because, I had had a baby. I was stuck at a certain weight, and I just felt like no matter what I was doing, it wasn't going to come off. And I also felt like my gut needed like a good cleanse and my metabolism. And when my friend introduced me to it, and she told me Dahlia was amazing and she lost a lot of weight. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this because I am just so frustrated. So it it was totally, it was crazy actually, because I feel like I remember I was like, I just want to lose a certain amount of weight in a certain amount of time. And my friend kept saying to me, I'm telling you, do this, you'll get there, believe me. And I remember there was like, I think 40 days or so from the day I wanted to do it until Passover started. And I was like, I
Right,
need to
that's
do
right.
this before Passover. Like, I have no choice. I need to. And Talia was amazing. She was like, we got this. We got this. You're going to be good. And yeah, it was crazy, like, looking back, that I was able to do it and that I was able to get my body back to that. I mean, I'm not at a place that I am 100% because I don't work out so much yet. But in terms of just my weight, like, I was just like, it's crazy that this actually worked. And it took less than 40 days for me to get there. And I think it's challenging, with Shabbat, with food and the holidays. But I think when you're in it and you feel so healthy, and you see you see your body successfully losing weight. I mean, it's crazy. You go on the scale and it's like you lost a pound basically every day. For me, it was a little
Right.
bit slower, but it was half a pound or 1 pound or 2 pounds one day. And it was just crazy to see. And I was just, yeah, it was very motivating also.
I love that. So, what did you learn throughout this process? Because I always tell people, this is like a small college course on your body, right? Like what we
Yeah.
do. It teaches you a lot about what's going on. What were some of the good takeaways, that tools that you've learned now moving into life, post the 40 days that you're going to adopt moving forward?
I think having a healthier mindset in general is something. I mean, I've always been very conscious, but I think over the last couple of years, my mind has been, with being pregnant and stuff, I kind of like lost that whole health touch, and it's just changed my mindset to just try and be as healthy as I can, and you know, not to be down on myself if I go out for, like last night I went out for dinner. This past week I had the holiday. We had, a holiday called Shavuot, and I ate some cheesecake, whatever it was, but I'm not down on myself for feeling bloated right now. I know that, okay, now it's time to go back to being healthy, and my body will go back to feeling that healthy way, and not to be hard or down on myself about having a slip or just enjoying my life. There's no harm in enjoying life, um, but there's harm in every day eating poorly.
Right, that's right. So, Dahlia, can you jump in a little bit? First, Dahlia, please introduce yourself and give us a little background about you and how you became a coach. And then I want to really hear your experience about, what it was like to coach Eliana and the whole process.
Okay, so, as you know, I was, 216 pounds when I came to you, and I
Right.
had done everything under the sun. Like when I'm telling you I've done everything under the sun, I've done everything. And I know a lot about nutrition, but it was crazy that like I couldn't lose weight, knowing like I was eating healthy, I was having, a high protein, high fat diet, I was doing keto, I was doing whatever, the books were saying, and I would read and nothing was working. And when I came to you, I remembered saying, Sam, if I lose just 10 pounds, like I'll be happy. Like I just can't lose a pound. And, when I saw that the cleanse, I lost 8 pounds the first week, I was sold. I was like, Sam, I really want to coach because this works. And if something really works, I know, like, I'll know how to coach. So basically what happened was that I ended up losing 60 pounds and keeping it off. And I can't be a hypocrite. So if I were to, if I were to not believe in something, there was no way in heck that I would put my name on it. So because I felt so good about myself, and it wasn't even just about the weight, I had carpal tunnel, I had a lot of thyroid issues, I had a lot of gut issues, and when I saw that not only did I lose weight, but I changed my metabolism and I felt better and I got rid of all of my, I had to get surgery. I remember, and I canceled it because I healed myself through food and my gut. And I had I had PCOS, which I don't have anymore. I healed a lot of my medical issues with food, and I just feel like a different person. I mean, it's been a year and a half that I've kept my weight off, and I'm continuously like trying to lose more. So I'm really passionate about the coaching part. And once I was trained by my coach, which is Sam's wife, I fell in love with the whole process and believed in it and wanted to just help everybody because I was like, this is it. This is the answer. This is the cure. And obviously it's not for everyone. Like when Eliana came to me, I was looking at her and I said to myself, she's a thin girl. She didn't need to lose a lot of weight, but she wanted to lose those extra 10 pounds. And I felt that once she told me that she's done everything and she really, really I felt like this was for her. Like this, she needed a gut cleansing. And most people do. Most people I feel need like a car wash kind of like reset.
Yeah.
And I feel like, this is it. And it was really, really, really enjoyable coaching her because she understood, like she is a healthy, conscious person, and she was willing to do whatever it took. She wasn't like, cheating. She wasn't like texting me that she was doing her journals. She was following through. She was really a good student. And it was it was really nice to see that someone really is invested in this. And when someone gives it their all, there's no way that they're not going to succeed in this.
I just want to add something. You know, when I first met with Dahlia and when I first met with Eliana, they both had that killer instinct. Like you could see, they were both very serious. You know, this program is and we'll get a little more into it in a bit about the differences between Wellness 40 and Wellness 101. But this program in general is not a regular weight loss program. It's a scientific formula that cleans out the liver and resets your hormones. And the byproduct of that is weight loss. To go through this process, you have to execute the process exactly as it's being coached to you. So it's not easy, you know, in any sense of the word. However, it's so fulfilling when you're focused and you're listening and you're seeing these results happen on a daily basis. When these two came into my office, when I first met with each one of them, you know, you could see they were both extremely serious. I mean, we've had a lot of people walking through the office that, you know, we're like, we want to do your wellness program, and they're not ready to do it, right? So for us, for me, you know, as a authentic CEO of a wellness company, the most important thing when someone does our program is for them to be in it. And both of these two had such fantastic focus and really executed. And this is the, you know, the living result of it. I want to go over a little bit about the food sensitivity test that we both use in both programs, the Wellness 40 and the Wellness 101. We use a couple of tools within our programs to kind of see what's going on inside of a person's body. Our food sensitivity test checks for different inflammatory responses inside your body, right? 132 different food groups. And before I start get into this a little bit, I want to kind of get everybody to understand the difference between three key components, right? We have allergy, right? This is not an allergy test. If you have an allergy to something, it's an acute reaction, which means you eat shrimp, you break out, or your throat closes, or you may possibly die, right? So those are allergic reactions. There's digestive issues, right? And there's digestive reactions where I take spinach in, oof, I'm bloated, I don't feel good, I'm constipated. That's a digestion issue that your body's not letting it break down. When it comes to inflammation is the silent killer, right? Because it doesn't allow you to have a reaction right away. So you don't understand if you're putting something that may seem healthy for you inside of your salad, let's say on a daily basis. That incremental buildup over time causes lots of inflammation inside your system. And it's not necessarily external fat, like if you're overweight. It could be internal visceral fat that wraps around your organs. So it's really important to understand how to detect that. And then what we do is we go into teaching you guys how to build a long-lasting nutrition program that's well organized based on what belongs in your system and what doesn't. That's what the food sensitivity test is all about. What did you learn first, Dalia, and then Eliana, about that food sensitivity test? How was that for you? Was it very eye-opening in a lot of ways?
Extremely, because, you know, I lived on eggs. For me, it was like make an omelet with whatever. And I had my food sensitivity showed up. My egg yolk was in the red zone, and my egg whites also were in the red zone, which is the highest, sensitivity that there could be. And when I eliminated eggs out of my diet, I just saw like crazy difference. And also I had, it wasn't in the red zone. It was like a little bit less. It was for dairy. I had to remove dairy from my diet. But what's interesting is that once I removed the dairy and the egg, it was just temporary that I did it for 40 days. I retook the food sensitivity test a few months ago, and I have no sensitivity to that anymore. So it's interesting because, you know, something that I was severely sensitive to that was really bad for me, once I eliminated it, it wasn't like a life sentence that I had to be, I'm never going to have it again. I removed it. I healed myself. I was able to lose more weight, and I, detoxified my gut. And then once my gut healed, I was able to incorporate it back into my diet. And obviously, I still keep an eye out to see how I'm feeling. And it's just in general, everything that I eat now, I'm so keen on what is good for me and what's not good for me. I've become so in tuned with my body. Whereas, I know already, like if I'm eating something that was good for me and that wasn't. And I've become like BFF with my body. So that was just amazing.
That's a great way to put it. And Eliana, what about you?
Yeah, so apparently pomegranate seeds, I'm very not allergic. I have a high sensitivity to, and I never thought about that, honestly. It was so random. But I actually one time had pomegranate seeds, I think after I finished a cleanse, and I put a lot of them in a salad I made for guests. And I was like, all right, whatever, it's one time. It's if it's one time, it's not so bad, right?
Yeah.
But I remember even after, like, I did feel very bloated, and I was like, I guess I shouldn't be eating that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was just like interesting. And then dairy, I love dairy. I eat tons of dairy. I have a slight sensitivity to cow's milk. So I do try and eat a little less, once in a while. Like I'll have every day a little dairy, but I try to just, I used to eat tons of it, like tons of cottage cheese and stuff. So I try and not consume as much.
She was upset when I told her she can only have cottage cheese once a week before her food sensitivity. Like, who gets upset about wanted it every day? That was like our fight.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, as you guys can see, there's such a great rapport and relationship that's built, between the coaches as well. This is a very coaching intensive program. Our coaches really take the time to educate and teach you guys exactly what your body needs and what it responds to. So you really walk away learning what is necessary for your body and the tools to be able to implement it on a daily basis. The coaching, people like Dahlia, is really what drives us and our message as a wellness company. So I just want to thank you, Dahlia, for that, because you did such a fantastic job coaching Eliana and everybody else, by the way, that you coach. And that's all of our coaches too, by the way. I'm tooting Dahlia's horn today, but they're all awesome. and Coach Matt being one of them as well. So it's very it's a very learning intensive program, and it needs to be taught the right way. I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between Wellness 40 and Wellness 101, so people get very clear on the difference between them, right? Wellness 40 is only for a group of people who are already in good shape. They live a fit lifestyle to begin with. They're already in a eating habitual form on a daily basis of making good choices, and they want to understand and educate themselves and how to get their body to the next level, lose about 8 to 10 pounds, lose some visceral fat, reset their body. So if there is any toxins remaining, they're able to clean it out and get back on track. That's what Wellness 40 and who it's for, okay? It's also for people from a preventative standpoint. So if once you've done the Wellness 101 and you've lost all the weight, people in our programs come back and do Wellness 40 every 6 months, every year as a preventative care measure, right? So it's a complete new reset for them as well. Wellness 101 is the main program. It's a 3-month program, and that's for anybody who needs the education and has more than 15 pounds to lose, right? So just so their clarification is there for our listeners to understand what might work well for them if they're interested in a program like this. It's good to understand those differences, because in the 3-month program, you're really going through an entire transformation of behavior through the coaching, as well as understanding your nutrition to a new level and learning to apply it. And in those 3 phases, we generally see a weight loss of anywhere from 20 to 60 pounds, depending on how much weight somebody has to lose. So I wanted to kind of just clarify that for everybody. Matt, any additions you have to that?
No, you pretty much summed it up on the head. Although I would ask Eliana this question, is that I also have done Wellness40, and I think even within the Wellness40, for those who are candidates, there's a transformation there too. But what do you think, Eliana?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think either of the programs just completely changes your body and your gut and everything. And I feel like, the reason why 40 worked for me was because I only needed to lose like 10 pounds.
That's right.
And I really saw a big difference. Even like Passover, once I had just finished it and Passover came, and I was like, I don't even want to tell you how I ate because I'm embarrassed. And I think I also, going off a diet into a Jewish holiday is very crazy. So I thought like, oh my God, I'm going to go on the scale and I'm going to be up like 5 pounds. I don't know what I just did to myself. Like, why did I do this? And I went on the scale after the holiday and didn't gain 1 pound. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, that's not possible. And I guess, it showed me that like my body was really reset. Not to say that if I continuously eat like that past 8 days, I wasn't going to gain weight. I would. But I guess my body was so reset that like it really kept it off, Now I need to be careful because now it's the summertime. I'm going out, I can't just like eat every day. I really am careful now, I enjoy my life though also.
You have to. And that's one of the things that we really work on teaching, right? We have social lives, we get together. I know your communities get together constantly, and every Friday night there is an event. And, what we teach you is how to learn to balance some sort of a routine that works for you, that allows you to be inside of a healthy longevity state of eating, 80 to 85% of the time. And you learn to indulge that other 15 to 20% in a different way than what you were used to. Right. And that's the key component. Your body learns how to do that. You learn the tools as to how to really be able to accomplish a balanced lifestyle where you can go out, you can have fun, you can indulge if you choose to, but you have the tools. You know exactly what to do the following day. You know exactly how to go about the next 3-4 days. You know exactly how to get your body right back to where it needs to be. These are really, really important things. And one of the things that I really want to touch up on also is there's little incremental changes that if you do over time will produce massive results, right? Something as little as people are unaware. They'll put creamer in their coffee every single day, and put about a quarter cup of creamer. Most people, they don't even realize that they put it in, and when you add that up, not just from a calorie standpoint, but all the other detrimental things that creamer breaks down into your system as over a period of time, that if you just switched that and you added 30 ounces of water in addition, a lot of hormonal issues would balance out in a lot of people. Like, it's actually sometimes really simple things that you learn to implement. And Dahlia, what have you seen in terms of coaching? Some of these like really simple implementations that you give. Can you give our audience a little hint?
I feel like water is one of those things where people, like for me, I never drank water like before this. There were days where if I didn't lose weight on the diet was because I didn't have enough water. Water is so essential. And I tell my clients, like my clients are like, I did everything perfect, and they could be, really doing everything right, but they didn't drink water. And that hindered that affects everything. Like water for me is a big, component to this. I feel like journaling is very important because just being mindful in what you're eating and how much of something you're eating, and being in the zone, I feel like that really helps someone go from maybe losing 20, instead of 20 pounds, they would lose 30 pounds. I feel like those little things make a big difference. Milk, I was a huge creamer person, huge, like the French vanilla sugar-free creamer. And, I gave that up because I just really wanted this so bad. And I just saw, like, when I would have that, I wouldn't lose. And when I wouldn't have it, I would lose. And it was like 10 calories or whatever you want to call it. But it's not even about that. The stuff and the ingredients are just poison. And it's just whatever I'm putting in my body now. I just really wanted it to be pure. And listen, whenever I'm off cleanse, I do indulge. If I want to indulge, I'll have my creamer here and there. But it's not a daily, it's a treat for me. Those things became a treat. It's not in my day-to-day life anymore. So I just, and it's funny because I don't like to say the word diet in front of my husband and my kids, but naturally my whole family lost a ton load, like everything. My daughter lost 20, my son lost 40, it's just little habits. I don't even talk about weight, but just having water only in the house and seltzer and just buying the natural ingredients and switching all my oils. People don't know this, but people think, okay, I'm going to go out for dinner and they made your salmon in canola oil. And that's just, that like defeats the whole purpose of having your salmon.
Yeah.
Like that's the oil, right. It's like a huge deal. And I'm actually talking to a lot of the restaurants in Great Neck to switch up their oils, to just change things up, because I feel like coconut oil is obviously ideal, but olive oil and avocado oil are, obviously the only oils that I would ever have. So I feel like that really changed everything for me as well.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And those are awesome tips. And that's some of the stuff that you really get to learn and understand, right? When it comes to the water, going back to the hormones, water, if you put the proper electrolytes, which is part of our system that we give you, we've gone through an extensive process of figuring out what the best trace minerals is that can directly transport the nutrients in the water that you're drinking to the cell. And when you utilize that, one of the things I've been studying a lot in the next chapter for our company is foods that really affect brain health, right? And one of the studies that I'm reading more and more than anything is that the electrolytes that are utilized to transport the water in the right area, especially for the brain fluid, is one of the key components to long-term brain health, right? So when you start to really utilize the proper water intake, the electrolyte intake, and you get that part of the triangle correct, because it's like 33.33% of your wellness program is your water. That's what people don't understand. They'll do the program, like you were saying, Dahlia, and if they don't drink water, if they might have lost, let's say, 40 pounds in the cleanse, they'll lose 27 instead. It'll be a 13-pound difference. That's how important that daily water intake with the electrolytes is. So I want to really hammer that home. And it really helps balance out your hormones, because you talk about PCOS. One of the biggest issues in women with PCOS, on the higher form of the spectrum of PCOS, is the fact that they don't drink any water. If you look and if you start drinking water with the proper electrolytes, you're naturally going to balance your hormones out so much more, because circulation becomes better, dehydration starts to go away, and just that one little simple tool can make all the difference in the world. I mean, obviously, look, we can sit here and talk about this all day long, but I really want to ask you, Eliana, in terms of your overall health, how, what is an advice that you would give to the listeners about, the program that you did and how it affected your overall health now moving forward?
So I think my mindset of, looking, especially the salt and the oils, um, and the water, all of that, like I'm so much more aware of. Even like my sugar in the morning in my coffee, I got rid of. And I'm also I feel like it's not like Dahlia said, not just for myself, but for my family. I constantly have fruit in the house, tons of it, and I'm constantly listen. My kids don't eat perfectly, of course, not their kids, but
Right.
I try my best to incorporate health in any way I can for myself and my family. And I am much more conscious before I like pour some sauce on my salmon. I'm not doing that now. I'm finding more spices to use instead, which I was always trying to do, but I feel like now that my mindset really changed from the diet and seeing the different ways that you can make food tasty, especially like on cleanse, it's crazy how you're so limited with what you're allowed to consume and eat with your food.
Right.
And like you realize, wow, it doesn't actually take much to make food flavored. You just have to put the effort in, or not just go into the fridge and grab a bottle and pour it all over, your salad. Um, so I think that is really important and something I took away from it. And I think that again, for anyone who's like trying to change their family and their own lifestyle, I think it will really change their mindset. But again, it's a hard program. It's not for anyone. You have to be willing to do it and want it badly. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
I love what you said. The dressing and the seasoning, that is also one of those little things that is huge. Like, people don't realize they dump their dressing on their salad and they're like, oh, I had salad for lunch, I had salad for dinner. And you add that up by the end of the week, it's like 10,000 extra calories at the end of the week that people are completely unaware of. So that's a great catch and a great learn. That's another one too. And this is it, right? You learn all of these little tools as we've now been talking about, really understanding how to reshape your own health, reshape your relationship to food. As you can hear, a lot of this is psychology. It's about mindset, as Eliana keeps saying, and that's the right word. You learn to change your mindset and your relationship to food. And Dalia touched upon this earlier. You ask your food, right? Is this good for me? It might taste good, but if it's going to be a bad effect inside my body, that's not a healthy relationship, right? So I'm not going to put you in my body if you're going to cause a bad effect in me, right? That's bad energy. So when you start to relate to your food as, okay, if I eat you, you're going to do well for me. So I will eat you and you'll do well for me. Like, just a simple conversation like that with your food will start to consciously allow you to make better choices in life. I want to thank you guys for coming on today. And as we wrap this up, by the way, guys, if anyone's interested in this program, this will all be in the footnotes for you guys. You can utilize the code Eishes Styles, and if you do any of our programs and anything that we offer, and you will get yourself a discount code that we offer on all of our programs. That's something we wanted to do for you and your listeners as well. So now, Eliana, give us a little plug about your Instagram, where people can find you. If anyone is interested in having you, be a face of what they do, like we are, and I recommend it highly. She's fabulous. How would they find you? Where would they go?
Thank you. So my Instagram handle is Eishes Style. I guess you can add it in the footnote possibly.
Yep, it'll be there.
And I also have a website, and I have an email. They can do aishesstyle@gmail.com. Reach me there, and follow
Fabulous. Along. Beautiful. Love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'm looking forward to
changing my whole mindset.
My pleasure. And
you were such a pleasure to teach. You were amazing. Thank you.
This was fabulous, and we're looking forward to continuously having you on board as we do more health conscious stuff together moving forward.
I love it.
Beautiful. All right. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eliana. Thanks, Dahlia. Thanks, Sam.
Bye, Matt. Bye, Sam.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
All right, there you have it. That was Eliana Ladenheim, founder of Eishes Style, and her coach, Dalia Loloi, talking about their respective journeys on Wellness 101 and Wellness 40, our Helix and Gene science-based wellness programs. Now, if you're interested in a scientific weight loss program, just give us a call at 516-467-4817 and mention this podcast, mention Eishes Style. You can follow her on Instagram at EISHESSTYLE at Eishes Style. If you give us a call at 516-467-4817, you'll get either $200 off a Wellness 101 program or $150 off of a Wellness 40 program as a thank you to you for being a listener of the podcast. Thanks again to Eliana, to Coach Dahlia, to Sam. I'm Coach Matt Freed. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.